So whenever my friends and I have an essay coming up, we often sit in our living room and just work together. So I'm not entirely perfect at spelling, so I would often ask my friends for help in case they know the spelling of a certain word. However, as time went on, I started to notice that when they would ask me for spelling help, it would be for seemingly basic words. Words such as mystical, philosophy, favorite. Like, these are very basic words, you guys. When I scroll on social media, I start to notice an increase in misspellings, as well as an increase in words getting shorter and shorter, to the point where conversations are starting to look like this. Now, I don't want to sound like a boomer because number one, that's not my intention, and number two, I use a lot of these terms as well. But am I the only one concerned by this? I promise you, typing the words at this point will not take up all of your time. Academics refer to this type of communication as textese, which allows for the omission of words in replace of abbreviations or acronyms. According to the Pew Research Center, because more informal settings such as texting and social network site posts have distinct norms about what is acceptable, such as incomplete sentences, misspellings, widespread use of abbreviations, and a general informal tone, some advanced placement and National Writing Project teachers worry that they ultimately undermine students' formal writing, while some AP and NWP teachers in the study describe these informal expressions as a unique language or register that can benefit students' self-expression when used in the right venue. Others worry that their students are increasingly unable to draw a distinction between informal and formal writing. Hello, my name is Chloe. I am a struggling, broke, degenerate college student that has too much free time on their hands and decided to make a YouTube channel because college textbooks are not going to pay for themselves. In this video, I want to delve into whether textese is connected to Gen Z's spelling errors. I want to look into the following: when textese began, reasons for using textese, and how textese relates to spelling. So as a starting point, I decided to look into the origins of LOL, and apparently its use predates back to the 1980s. Wayne Pearson, who was at the time a student at the University of Calgary, claims to be the first to use LOL. He would use it with his friends in this rudimentary chat room called Viewline. However, the first documented use of LOL comes from a newsletter from Fido News in 1989. During this time, the acronym LMTO, which stands for Laughing My Tush Off, was used. The more vulgar and more known acronym LMAO was first used, unsurprisingly, during an online Dungeons and Dragons game. I don't want to get into the origins of every known acronym because one, that's just going to take up way too much time, and two, it doesn't really matter. But it seems as though the majority of them originated around the 1980s. The earliest I could personally find was OMG, which was seen in a letter from John Arbuthnot Fisher, hopefully I pronounced his name correctly, to Winston Churchill in 1917. He says, and I quote, "I hear that a new order of knighthood is on the tapis. OMG. However, we didn't see an increase in the use of these acronyms until the release of smartphones. Now, with smartphones, we need to be able to text at lightning speed, and the most efficient way to achieve this is through the use of textese. Now, I completely understand their appeal because, imagine how cumbersome it would be for me to constantly type laugh out loud whenever I find something amusing in a text message, which I use LOL a lot. Like a lot. It's quick, easy, and efficient. Moreover, online spaces generally tend to be informal. If we had to type and talk in a formal way all the time, life would just be boring. They're also somewhat universal. A lot of other countries outside of the US understand what LOL and OMG mean without knowing the exact meaning of each letter in the acronym. They just understand that LOL is an acronym used when you find something funny, and OMG is an acronym that you use when you find something shocking. However, now I want to go into the kind of texties that Gen Z uses a lot. TS, PMO, NGL, like you get the idea. Those acronyms started to gain prominence on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and yes, I am aware that it's called X now, and I don't care. I will be dead naming it. Some of these terms are AAVE, which stands for African American Vernacular Language, and if you don't know what that is, it's a variety of English mostly spoken by the African American community. It started with people who already knew these terms and they would use them online, but other people started to copy them, and now it's pretty much everywhere. It has actually become a cultural phenomenon where people would refer to it as the AAVE to brain rot pipeline, which is something I would like to delve into deeper in another video. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there is a general concern, especially amongst teachers, that characteristics of textees would leak into people's formal writing. However, research suggests a contrasting effect. In a study conducted by researchers at the University of Alberta, adolescents collected their text messages during a 1-week period, and then afterwards they would complete a spelling test. Researchers found that during that 1-week period, the use of textees was highly prevalent within their messages. However, they found that spelling ability was not related to use of textees. At first, I questioned whether I should even mention this study because this paper was published in 2010, and as we know, so much has changed between 2010 and now. However, I found a slightly more recent study conducted in 2015, and the researchers in the study also concluded that the unconventional grammar in texting and textees, it's not a consistent sign of poor grammatical abilities. Okay, that's the end of the video. Just kidding. We are most definitely not done yet because it still doesn't address Gen Z's spelling issues. I mean, according to a survey of 2,000 people, just half of Gen Z and millennials bother to differentiate between there, and there. But this rises with age to 80% among people over 65. Moreover, just a quarter of those between 18 and 24 use capital letters correctly, compared to 61% of seniors. These are alarming statistics, and if Gen Z's spelling issues are not connected to textees, then where is it coming from? According to a blog from Ohio State University, spelling errors in Gen Z can be attributed to over-reliance on spell check and word processing systems. Basically, if the internet fixes your spelling for you, then why should you care about memorizing the correct spelling of a certain word? In a study done by Dr. Grabill and his colleagues, 79% of college students associated their most valued writing with word processing technologies. So now that you know this information, why should you care? Here is my oversimplified version. Lock in. You are going to be communicating with authority figures at some point in your lifetime, and if you are in a career or planning to go into a career that involves writing, which is going to be a majority of careers out there, then it is even more important that you learn how to spell correctly. I don't think there's anything wrong with relying on autocorrect and word processing systems. I mean, I use autocorrect, I use word processing systems, but I still know how to spell. I think the key is honestly reading more, and it doesn't have to be books per se, but reading the news, research articles, heck, even fan fiction. Like, exposing yourself to a large volume of words really helps to not only improve your vocabulary, but also improve your spelling. I know it's time consuming, but it's a lot better in the long run, and it's definitely better than exposing yourself to some brain rot terms like this. Like, seriously, what do even half of these words mean? That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like so I know to make more content like this. And I'm very open to constructive criticism, so since it's my first time making content like this and uploading a video of this nature, feel free to leave a comment sharing any thoughts or concerns you had while watching. Yep. See you guys next time. Bye!